Thanks. So if we can start with Katie for an introduction.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the chair of the Media Arts Design program at Cypress College, and I'm really excited to be here. Let's talk a little bit about what we offer. We have an associate in science and film, television, and electronic media transfer degree, which is fairly new to us, and we're very, very happy. This is a 2-year transfer degree focusing on film. And digital film has been something that we're really strong with, and we have over 4 different skill certificates focusing on just film production and film medium. But altogether, we have 12 skill certificates. We have about 5 of them focusing on different areas of animation, 2D animation, 3D animation, character and background design, digital illustration, and storyboarding. We also have skill certificates focusing on sort of like the cutting edge up and coming mediums such as emerging technologies and advertising. We have a motion design certificate, and we also offer a graphic design certificate. In terms of our film certificates, we have, again, digital cinema and arts and industry, digital production, digital cinema techniques and technologies, and post-production. And one of the things that I would say Cypress College's Media Arts and Design department is set apart from the rest of the community colleges, perhaps, is that we picked up this completely new area, which is projection mapping. And we are just now being really fortunate to be basically earning different types of grants so we could purchase equipment to facilitate the learning of projection mapping. So we just got these amazing large venue projectors. And once the pandemic is over, we can finally go out there and do productions in the live. So that is what is our newest and greatest.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. So we'll go to Philip.
Hi there, my name is Phil Demetriadis, and I've been at Fullerton College now for about 10 years. I worked in the animation industry for about 17 years on feature films and TV animated series, illustrating children's books and toy design. In our program at school, we're part of our art department and still connected with them, but then we have a digital art program. I head up and lead that program with 2 other artists, Mike Sheehan and Frank Guthrie, who are also industry professionals that have worked, I think total number of years is somewhere around 60 years between all 3 of us. We're also hiring a full-time animator coming this semester, which is really exciting. So we have a bunch of different certificates. We have a really big 3D program that trains students how to use 3D Maya. And then we also have a bunch of other softwares used inside the clothing and design industry for consumer products like Chloe and Marvelous Designers. In fact, we're the only school in Southern California that has those softwares available, because we have a working alliance with Vans corporate office in Costa Mesa, California. In the entertainment arts program, that's one of the areas that I oversee, and we help students get jobs at Disney TV Animation and other entry-level positions inside the local creative economy of Southern California.
Okay. Thank you very much, sure. Philip. Patricia?
Hi, Patricia's not here.
Oh, so, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I've got, let's go to Cherry Chatkup.
Yes, that's me. Patricia okay, yeah. Beckman's my colleague. So okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Terry Chatkup. I'm a professor of digital media art at Irvine Valley College. I'm also the chair of the art department. So like Philip, we are connected to the art department, which is something that we stress in terms of our students learning the art fundamentals. In terms of digital media art, which I direct, we have a couple of different degrees. One is a certificate of achievement, and one is an AS degree. And they're meant to just give a good foundation in terms of digital media arts. So students will have the opportunity to learn graphic design, digital photography, video, and motion. And then Patricia, my colleague, who will, I think, provide some kind of video for everyone to have access to. Her program, which is the Interactive Media Arts program, is based on game design, animation, and also emerging technologies, including virtual reality. And that basically sums it up. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Terry. Let's go to Stephanie.
Yes, hi there, Stephanie Clark from Santa Ana College. I am the new co-chair of the digital media department. And we are housing an animation certificate. We also house the film and television production program. So that includes broadcast journalism, film production and agency production, and then also television and screenwriting. So in addition to that, we have graphic arts, we have the digital media arts program, and user experience and web design. So this is a new shift that we've been going through this year in merging the programs together at our Digital Media Center. And we're pretty excited about it. And we're pretty excited about our, hopefully our agency production program, which we've been trying to get off the ground for the last few years, but I think it's finally happening. We're partnering with a small business sector, also housed at the Digital Media Center, and we're hoping that we can build a network there where we're helping small businesses in all of their digital media needs.
Great, thank you so much, Stephanie. And then we have Angela Holbrook from Coastline College.
Hi there. My name is Angela Gomez Holbrook, and I am professor of digital media at Coastline College. We have 2 new 9-unit stackable certificates in production, animation, and another one in audio video. Those stackable certificates work right into the 18-unit certificate of achievement. And the 18-unit certificate of achievement is the same as our AA degree. So they flow into each other. In addition, we have professional instruction in audio video for voiceover, social media video streaming. Our drone imaging department is going strong, including drone aerial photography for real estate. The forecasts in the drone market is going to grow by 3 billion by 2024. So it's important in the photography area to work with the drone aerial photography. We offer Adobe certification for each Adobe course, including portfolio development. And we currently have a digital media business basics course that also includes creating freelance business, practicing with billing and communication, and preparing a portfolio, preparing the student for the real world. And also the certificates will allow them to move. So we provide a foundation so they can go to a 4-year college. We also have job shadowing internships, and several students are currently, 3 of my students are currently working as interns and designers in our marketing department. So we're working on finding internships each year with our students and finding their strengths and their skills and finding a direction for them. And that's our digital media department at Coastline College.
Thank you so much, Angela. So we have a great panel here, and everyone offers, it seems like a good, balanced, diverse offering of various digital media programs. I have a list of questions. I'm going to start off with the first one, and then I might go off script a little bit based on your answer. So our goal is to have a very dynamic, fluid conversation. So this is to the whole panel. What type of school is best for students?
I think we lost her.
Yes.
Hi, no worries.
Until she comes back, I think we forgot Santiago Canyon College. Hey, Terry. I think we missed one, Phil. So my name is Robbie Miller. I'm the chair of the art department at Santiago Canyon College. We're very similar to IVC and Fullerton, not in size, of course, but in that Terry and I have talked about for years. We put a real importance on fine art and digital media art as one. Both of our departments are all in one place. And 10 years ago, when I first took this job, a dean told me, we're not going to be a one-stop shop. We're just not the size. And I've thought about that for the last 10 years. And what we do is we really build the foundations for students in fine art and digital media art, and then give them a choice in what direction they want to go. We offer an Associate of Science degree in graphic design. We have a studio AAT that transfers to the CSUs. And we have a studio arts, Associate of Arts in studio arts as well. And so we have classes in digital photography and graphic design and web design. Hey, in the spring, we have openings in a digital photography class. I know a lot of you have them in your high school, but if you don't and the student needs a credit, send them over to SCC. And if they're interested in entertainment arts, I don't think Phil really promoted what they do over there enough. I've been really close with Fullerton College, and what Phil has done to that program is just incredible. Anytime I have a student that's interested in entertainment arts, I send them over to Phil.
Great. Thanks, Robbie, for joining us. Yeah, so I guess for the panel, going back to the question, what are some advice that you can give for students who are looking into digital media? What type of programs that they should look at, and what type of school is best for students who are exploring this?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
I think a recommendation for students is to, obviously Adobe is sort of the industry starting standard, but I would just recommend that students learn anything and everything that's new. That includes like app-oriented design, just using a smartphone, because I think a lot of what's happening right now in the design industry is very fast and rapid and responsive. So just encouraging students to constantly explore and experiment with all the new apps and cloud-based sources that they have, because it's a really kind of exciting, but also very much a changing time period right now. So that would be my recommendation.
I'd like to piggyback off of Stephanie's
Yes, please, Katie.
This is Scotty, yes. I would just like to recommend to everyone, media arts is such a huge bin. There's so many directions within. I would say that if I were a student coming out of high school, taking a course that samples, give yourself an opportunity to see what you hate and what you love, because your job is gonna be like, I don't know, 75% of your life, right? So you gotta enjoy your job. If you don't enjoy doing what you're doing, that's gonna be a horrible life. So sampling, taking classes and see what is out there is super important.
Yeah, I think we all offer that intro Adobe class with Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign, which is really important step to start. Take digital photography to start, but it's really important to take a drawing and painting class as well. I think all of us would agree that having that skill is the foundation that's important for all the new bells and whistles that are going to come out. And if you don't have the foundation, I mean, you're chasing the rabbit. You know, if you keep trying to chase each program that comes out, by the time you graduate, that program's going to be long gone. But if you have an understanding of the foundations, you'll adapt very, very quickly.
I agree. I want to piggyback on Robbie. We're all piggybacking on each other, but having a foundation and understanding the language of art and design is really important in terms of the foundations. So yeah, I just wanted to mention, like, you find an intro class that gives you the ability to explore all the software and all the fun new stuff, but also learn the fundamentals, including art appreciation and drawing and painting, like Robbie said.
Right. And it seems like the fundamentals are important because it helps develop a love for, like what Stephanie mentioned, the lifelong love of learning. And it, like, what you guys have mentioned also, it seems like what you learn is going to be obsolete and replaced every, every couple of years. And so it's important to know how to learn. Can you speak to a little bit more about that process? Are there any particular resources that students can go to outside of the classroom? And also, what are you doing inside of the classroom to promote that lifelong learning skills? Because learning is a skill in and of itself.
One of our mottos we use at Fullerton College is, like everyone else is just sort of pretty much stating, is I can teach you a digital software in 6 months, but it can be difficult to teach you how to draw properly and design in 6 months. So having that strong foundation in traditional skill sets, and then introducing the student to digital software a little bit later. And then one of the things we really like to do is we've created a list of different pathways. So we have a bunch of students that have gone on to work professionally. So I can show them the difference between a student that works at Disney Television as a character designer, a student who works in live action film as a storyboard artist, and then a student who just got hired at Vans designing shoes on the computer. And then we even have a 3D printing lab where we had entered a contest with NASA and ended up beating out a lot of the major top 4 Ivy League schools. We're the only junior college. We 3D printed an arm that would be mounted to hold a camera inside the Mars rover. And so there's such a huge expansion there of different interests. You have everything from art, drawing, designing, 3D printing, and the digital softwares are constantly changing, they're upgrading. So we always sort of go back to that core foundation, which is you really need to know how to draw and design. And that's that's like our universal language. We even have students that have gone overseas to work in Japan and other areas. And the universal language is drawing and sketching and pre-visualization techniques. And then you can, it's crazy how you can pick up and learn a decent app or, even Photoshop or Illustrator in 6 months of time, but it doesn't replace that knowledge of good fine art training and color and drawing and sketching. So, I think the pathways, and I think all of us have probably heard this from our institutions, they're having us break down pathways now and create these lists for students to show them what direction they could go into to help part of that CTE process.
Great. And the topic has been brought up about experiential learning, like you mentioned the NASA program and other types of things. Can you tell us a little bit more about how students can gain additional experience while in the classroom by working with either internships with companies, or what other types of experiential learning programs do you have? And this is for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if you guys can go ahead. I already spoke.
Oh, please. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Philip, you can go ahead, and then somebody else can answer as well.
So, it's funny because we have one of these internship programs that count as a class, but it's always really difficult to line up the internship at a particular company on their time schedule. So I think one of the things we do is we bring in a lot of guest speakers, and then Mike and Frank and I have a lot of industry friends that will come and stop by, and we just sort of share information. So, one day DreamWorks Television might be having an internship, and then a month later, Disney TV starts up an internship, but their internship is a little different because their pipeline or the way that they work is a little different. So part of it is just having, I think for us, we have to really keep our feelers out there. Even during COVID, we have these, relationships with producers and other companies, and we're always talking to them about what's going on. And, I like, for example, I worked with a producer named Josh Wexler, and he runs his own studio now in North Hollywood called Pure Imagination Studios. And he wanted to offer an internship, but they didn't want to pay. And I told them, I said, students are going to be driving to you all the way from like Orange County, South County. If you were to pay minimum wage, you're going to get a better outcome and more people wanting to drive. So we tried it, and we had 4 students go over there, and it was a huge success. He came back and totally loved it. So, but then again, it always comes back to that interest of the student. I think that their interests are changing and growing, just as, new software applications are changing and growing. It's sort of we're in the middle of like a renaissance of digital, which is a wonderful place to be.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any other comments on that question?
Yes, I'd like to, what I've been doing, because I've been running into the same issue, it's one thing to teach someone, but you guys all know that whatever you tell them in the classroom, they don't necessarily believe you, but they really love to hear it from someone else. It's like teenagers, right? So I've been trying to pair up my students who are seriously interested and told me about their, goals and dreams with actual industry mentors. I pair them up, at this point, they don't need to meet. I'm telling them to create a LinkedIn account, reach out to the person of who I've already agreed with that they will mentor my student. And so they can hear it from this person who is actually pursuing this daily, and that's their job. And I think it's so valuable to see their struggle and their life and how did they get to that point. Because I think the biggest problem with this generation right now is that they have beautiful dreams, but when they realize how much work it takes, then they kind of like, switch it up or change it up, or they don't really want to learn the foundations, or they think they can just go ahead and get that like character designer position, which is impossible. So it's really beautiful to see what it takes to get there and how can you get there. So that's what we are trying to do at Cypress.
Great.
If I don't mind,
please.
Everybody sounds so wonderful. I think that we're all excellent programs, building foundations for our students, for our areas. I like to tell students that, whatever school is near you, that provides what you need. Our program has been online for a long time. So we get students from all over California, not just in our area, but I know that our local students are looking toward their local community colleges, which have fabulous foundations. I love to learn about what everybody's doing. We have professional instructors that offer the guidance, and we also have courses that are specifically used in the industry. The basics, everybody has the Adobe programs, and but our current digital media business basics allows them to streamline their portfolio, set up a freelance business, and create an identity, work with project management. So that's been new for us. It's really exciting for them to work with billing, communication, and so that's very helpful. They all have to interview professionals. So while I'm out at conferences, I do 30-second to 1-minute interviews, like at Adobe Max and places like that. And then I post them on YouTube. So my students get a little clip of current information from people in the digital media industry, from artists to designers. And art directors as well give a lot of their background and their mistakes and what they, their successes. So our students also have to interview and job shadow professionals. So that I think is helpful for all of us to do with our students. We currently, I did mention before, we currently have 3 students working as interns, and 1 is working professionally now with our marketing department. I'll end with that.
Great, thank you. And we've talked, now let's switch gears a little bit to talk about from learning to the degree program and the certification. So given, as we mentioned before, how fast the industry is changing and shifting, what do you see as the continued relevancy of a set degree? Or do you see a trend emerging in terms of flexibility where people can explore various things and sort of cobble together their own choose your own adventure degree, if you will? Where do you see that going in the future?
Well, if I could comment on that, one of the things that we've had a hardship with, and I think this has always been one of the—
And this question is for everybody.
Okay. And one of the strengths and benefits of the community college system is that most of the Cal State and university systems tend to be about 5 to about 10 years behind the normal tech of what's happening in the world. And I think that's why the community college system has done so well, especially in certain areas like cosmetology or automotive design and digital media arts, is that a good example, at Cal State Fullerton and Long Beach, they have an illustration program, but they don't have specific pockets in that program. There's a difference between editorial illustration. There's a difference between storyboarding, animating, 3D modeling, 3D Maya, 3D printing. So you have these like huge umbrellas, but a lot of these schools, they really can't compete at that level. So sometimes students are forced with this decision. Do they just want to go make a portfolio and get a job in the industry? Or do they want to get a degree to have something to fall back upon? Because like I tell them, if I never got my degree in illustration, I wouldn't be here teaching right now. So, but I never thought I'd be a full-time teacher. My goal is just to work in the industry. So I think it's changing so much. And then the other thing to also consider, something that really bothers me, is the constant hike in college debt. I mean, Art Center College of Design is $160,000 for 2.5 years. Laguna College of Art and Design, they have a pretty good program, but they're up in the $120,000 range. The Cal State system is increasingly hiked their tuition by 22%. They do that every 4 to 5 years. So it's, if you look up on the US Bureau of Labor and Census data, student debt is 3 times the size of the national deficit. So I think it's really important when we work with kids, we try to show them different options in different ways. Art Center is a great school, but what a lot of students don't know is that if you have a really high-end portfolio, you can apply for a scholarship and you can get 50% of your tuition paid for via scholarship, versus some other students, they just have so much talent and ability, they go right into the industry and they stop back and they look and they go, I don't need to get that piece of paper for my bachelor's degree because I'm out making $86,000 working at Disney Television as an artist. In fact, I'll post a link inside the chat room of one of our students who just got her full-time job at Disney Television working as a storyboard artist and character designer, and her starting wage was $18.50 a week. So to come out of a community college and be jumping into that type of a salary, especially when she came from a pretty poor Hispanic family, that's a crazy thing to visualize for kids. But there aren't, I know the question comes up is, are studios wanting you to have degrees? I think there are some that do want you to have a degree, but a lot of it too is because they want to make sure that you have been educated in other aspects of soft skills and communication. Do you have the ability do you have good written skills? Can you communicate well with others? Can you play with other children in the sandbox very well? And I think that's an important part in the long run. But at the end of the day, it's always about the portfolio. People open up your portfolio, they want to see your ability, and then they interview you to see how your soft skills are functioning. And if you have those soft skills, then you're going to succeed. You're going to have a positive outcome. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else on that question? I would like us to talk about the soft skills part of it. Are there any particular soft skill, because it's a broad range, right? Whether it's interview skills, presentation skills, communication skills. What are some specific soft skills that you would recommend students really beef up now, or where you see the particular gaps amongst your student body? And this question is for everybody. Anybody?
That's why I think critique is so important. So many times, especially today, especially since my studio is here at home, and I have to teach students that are sitting in their homes in their beds. How do you critique and discuss your designs? How do you give feedback to others? How do you communicate? Which is, something we've learned and miss. I miss being in the studio with kids discussing and looking at art, but we have to, that's huge for soft skills, is how do you communicate? The Van Goghs of the world would not happen in 2021. We cannot be locked in our own studios making great art without being able to communicate with others what we're doing to look at that process.
Right, and it seems like the promotion part of it is just as important to get your work and name out there. So with the last minute remaining, does anyone want to offer up some final advice, important takeaways that we haven't yet talked about?
I'd like to offer up a little bit of advice, because I just have this really one of the things I love about being at a junior college is that our classes are $150 for a 3-unit class, and that meets for 16 weeks. I used to teach at an online school when I was in the industry, and it was at nights, and it's called CGMA. A perspective class there is $1,200 for only 8 weeks. So unfortunately, part of our art field and art translating into workforce development and CTE has become a business for a lot of these larger schools. And they really, you know, they have these programs where they try to suck students in. They say, hey, we'll give you a scholarship, but it's only for like 1 semester. And then the students go to these schools and they get out owing $100,000 of debt. And then their feet are like in concrete, where they're trying to build a life, you know, they're trying to start a family, they're trying to do all these things that are almost impossible. So unfortunately, there is that realistic side to it, that these larger institutions have sort of become businesses. And I try to, you know, educate our students properly and give them the options of understanding different scholarship options. There's a lot of variance out there, especially if you're of different nationalities and ethnic backgrounds, there's options. So spending the time to research, find scholarships, not just jump and go to the Academy of Art in the Bay Area because they offered you a scholarship. That's what I did, and I learned the hard way. Because when I got there, the program was horrible. And then later on, when I left after 1 semester, I was $30,000 in debt. And I realized, like, wow, going to a private art school wasn't the good decision. And then I ended up going back to Fullerton College, and I went to Cal State Fullerton and got my degree. And that was a better outcome. So it's, unfortunately, that business side is there. And I just, you know, when you look at that stat of how many students are in debt right now, and it's literally, it's a crisis in terms of where we're going to be as a country, you know, 6 to 10 years from now, when our education population of students are going to get out owing so much money that they're not going to be able to have normal lives.
Thank you, Philip. That debt issue is very important too, and I wish hopefully we'll have more time to talk about that later. Anybody else before we close out?
Yes, just encourage your students to follow their passion and try to show their passion and express their passion through art. That's it.
Great. A very fundamental point. Yep. Thank you very much, Terry. Thank you for everyone on the panel for your wonderful thoughts. And then we can continue to keep the conversation going in the chat. Thank you very much. And with that, I guess I'll hand it over to Aurea.